Hello and welcome to Soul Steps. I'm David Gallagher. A really close friend of mine was out playing soccer one day with his young daughter. I'm thinking she was probably 10 or 11. And as they played, she kicked a ball and it went out of bounds. And he heard this muffled expletive come out of her mouth that he couldn't quite tell if he heard it right or not, but it was a 4-letter word referring to fecal matter. So because he didn't quite know if he heard it clearly, they continued playing and kicking the soccer ball around, and she kicked another ball out of bounds, and this time the word came out pretty loud and pretty clear. And he was sure then that he knew what he had heard the first time, that 4-letter word referencing fecal matter. And he said to his daughter, "Honey, we're going to stop now and we're going to go in the house for a minute, have a little talk." And sure enough, as he confronted her vocabulary, he learned that she had been hearing that word being uttered by older girls at school. And it became a learning moment for her. I was reading not long ago one teenager writing about bad language. This teenager wrote, "My parents won't let me watch movies with, quote, bad language," end of quote. "But what they call swearing is just a part of life. My friends use 4-letter words all the time. The words are just old Anglo-Saxon terms for normal bodily functions. They're only dirty because some people say so. Besides," this teenager writes, "the Bible doesn't say anything against them, other than telling us not to take God's name in vain, but that's different." You know, we all often go to great lengths to justify bad behavior, and in this case, not so great words. I was not long ago with a friend of mine, a woman friend, a lovely Christian woman, who had a job that needed to be done. And I had invited a couple of guys that I know who I thought could help her with this job, construction type work. And as we walked around the job site, this one friend of mine, I didn't know him well, but I could have guessed, even though I knew he was a Christian, I could have guessed that he probably was not a mature Christian. But as we walked around this job site and this friend of mine looked at the work that this woman needed to have done, 4-letter expletives were dropping out of his mouth. And at one point, my friend looked at me quite astonished. She just wasn't expecting that he would have these kinds of words coming out so frequently. But my lady friend was surprised by the words coming out of his mouth. I remember also reading not long ago that on the job, people who swear or curse somewhat regularly are many times overlooked for promotions. And statistically, it is true that the more colorful a person's language is, or the more they curse, the opportunities for promotion and advancement begin to go down. Many, many, many people don't appreciate foul language. The Apostle Paul said in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29, and this is in the Message translation, he wrote, "Watch the way you talk. Let nothing foul or dirty come out of your mouth. Say only what helps." each word being a gift. And in Ephesians chapter 5, just verses later in chapter 5, verse 4, let there be no filthiness or foolish talk or crude joking, which are out of place. But instead, let there be thanksgiving. In other words, as followers of Christ, there's always opportunity for our baser nature, our natural man who's been exposed, like my friend's daughter was, to bad words coming out of other girls' mouths at school. There's always opportunities for those words that are not helpful to come out of our mouths. I can't tell you how many times I've watched movies with just cursing and bad language throughout, and I sit there thinking to myself, that is so unnecessary. And it doesn't add anything to the movie. It doesn't enhance it in any way. It's just useless words that are not necessary. And here in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 4, when it says those words that are filthy or foolish or crude joking, which are out of place, the literal meaning in the Greek of that phrase, which are out of place, is just they aren't convenient. They take up unnecessary space. And so as followers of Christ, we're called to watch the stuff that comes out of our mouth, because some of what we say just isn't convenient and takes up unnecessary space. And instead, the Apostle Paul says, let it be replaced with positive things like words of thanksgiving, words of praise to God, words that are a gift that take up necessary space because they're positive and good and right. Today, if this message is hitting home for you because maybe more often than is necessary, unhelpful words come out of your mouth, take that to heart. Ask God to help you with it. Sometimes those words are so second nature because you've been using them for so long, or you've been around people who use them all the time in the workplace, and they're just second nature to you, or they've become part of your baser nature. Ask God to help you just not use those terms, not use those words that are frankly unnecessary. And ask God by His Spirit to replace those words that fill up space in a good way and use words that become more of a gift to people than a curse. And who knows, if your language starts changing even in the workplace, you might find that good things start happening, even in the way of promotions or advancement. Thanks for watching today. If you'd like to write us, you can write us at hello@soulsteps.org. Thanks for praying for us. Pray that these devotionals go to people who need to hear the positive, truthful messages that come that are based in God's Word, the Bible. And thanks for remembering us in your giving. We appreciate it. You can give by going to soulsteps.org. Thank you, and God bless you.